Good morning. Welcome to this very special day here at St. Paul's School as we celebrate the investiture of Mr. David Faust as the 33rd headmaster of our school and officially welcome him into that role. We will begin our celebration by singing our opening hymn found in your program, and I invite you to rise as we sing.
The new head of St. Paul's School for Girls, whose investiture will be celebrated next week, and the family and friends of Mr. Faust. Today, we celebrate a very special ceremony, one that has taken place rarely at our school. Although Mr. Faust is taking his place as the 33rd headmaster in St. Paul's history, there have only been 5 headmasters in the last 81 years, almost half the time the school has existed. Only 12 students here today were at St. Paul's the last time a new headmaster was invested. This record of stability shows me 2 things. First, that St. Paul's has been blessed with outstanding leaders. And second, that our community has provided these leaders with great support, enabling them to succeed over a long number of years. Today's investiture confirms that it's Mr. Faust's responsibility to lead St. Paul's, but it also confirms our responsibility to welcome him, to support him, and to sustain him. From this day forward, let us all work together to shape a St. Paul's community that builds upon the traditions of our past to establish an even brighter future ahead. It is now my honor to present the 33rd headmaster of St. Paul's School, Mr. David C. Faust. We have come together to welcome who has been chosen to serve as headmaster of St. Paul's School. We believe that he is well qualified and that he has been thoughtfully and prayerfully selected. David, do you, in the presence of this school community, commit yourself to this new responsibility?
I do.
Will you witness this new beginning? Will you, who witness this new beginning, support and uphold Mr. Faust in service to St. Paul's School?
The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Gracious God, we give you thanks for all the blessings of this life, and especially today for the leadership of Mr. Faust. Strengthen and sustain him with practice, courage, and understanding in the care for the people of St. Paul's School community. And grant together that we may use our gifts and talents to fulfill the mission of your school. This we ask through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Psalm 121 will be said responsibly by all religion. I lift up my eyes to the hills, and where is my help to come? You will not let your foot be moved, and he who watches over you will not fall asleep. The Lord himself watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand, so that the sun shall not strike you. So that the sun shall not strike you. Excuse me. The Lord shall preserve you from all evil. It is he who shall keep you safe.
A reading from the letter of St. Paul to the Philippians. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again I will say, rejoice. Let your gentleness be known to everyone. The Lord is near. Do not worry about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, beloved, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is pleasing, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, and if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Keep on doing the things that you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, and the God of peace will be with you. The word of the Lord.
Wow, there's a lot of people in here. I'm used to setting up the microphones and hiding in the closet as it all happens. Please keep in mind that when you hear the infamous words, "Welcome to the Ward Center for the Arts," it's a recording. I did that 15 years ago. Before I begin, let me say it's a real honor to have been asked to speak at this ceremony. Welcome to Headmaster Faust. Welcome to Penny Evans. Welcome to the Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, friends, lower school students, middle school students, upper school students, and anyone I may have forgotten. I think that covers almost everyone. As we formally hand over the reins of our community to our new headmaster, I'm here to offer in one person's perception of who we are at the school, and hopefully also to remind us what an incredible institution St. Paul's is, and how fortunate we are to be a part of it. As I do this, there will be a number of presentations with Headmaster Faust as we welcome him to our community. 2 weeks ago, I happened to notice the U.S. News World Report came out with their annual ranking of colleges and universities. Much to my delight, I saw that my alma mater, Williams College, was ranked #1 for small liberal arts colleges. When I was applying for college back in the mid-1960s, I had both Harvard and Williams on my list. Looking for advice, I spoke with my Uncle Herbert, who was a refugee from the Holocaust, and was at the time a professor at Harvard. His advice is straightforward. Go to Williams. Sorry for any Harvard people. It has a history of great teaching. President James Garfield, Williams class of 1856, speaking about Mark Hopkins, who was one of his professors, said, "The ideal college is Mark Hopkins on one end of a log and a student on the other." Keep that image in your mind. Teacher, student. I will refer to it again. I find that St. Paul's and Williams have at least 3 things in common. First, both Mr. Baird and I went to Williams and we're now here at St. Paul's. Okay, that's not very important. But there was a time when we had 5 Williams alums here, and we've even had a headmaster in the last 8 years who was a Williams alum. Both institutions have a Chapin Hall, and I found out it's the same Chapin family. And both schools have great teaching. I will get back to the teachers. But let's look first at all those other components of the school that make teaching possible. My first real memory of St. Paul's was as a 4th grader. Not here, I was at Towson Elementary. My mother had picked me up at Towson Elementary to take me to the ever-dreadful monthly orthodontist torture appointment, which was located in downtown Baltimore. We first had to drive to St. Paul's, where my older brother Bruce went to school. He and Mr. Darrell were classmates. As we entered the school campus, Mom very successfully crashed into the big steel gates that used to hang at the entrance to the school. She pretty much wiped out the front of our brand new 1956 Plymouth wagon. I thought it was pretty cool because I'd never been in a car accident before. It was Headmaster Happy Middleton who came out to the rescue, calling on maintenance to help move the car before carpool time, and then he personally drove us to Baltimore for the orthodontist appointment. I remember thinking how cool it was that the big cheese of the school was taking the time to personally drive us to our appointment in downtown Baltimore. I had just learned volumes about St. Paul's School. My next memory of St. Paul's was chapel. Now, I went to Sunday school every week, but there was no church at Towson Elementary. This was different. I cannot verbalize exactly what I was thinking, but I do remember there was something very special about religion not being just a Sunday thing. St. Paul's was founded in 1849. By American standards, that makes St. Paul's relatively old. However, if you go to Great Britain, you find that some of their schools have been around for 1,000 years or more. But that church connection is critical to us. It ties our school to a tradition and an ethic that goes back thousands of years. The school was founded by Old St. Paul's Church in downtown Baltimore, and our ties remain close. The soprano section of the church choir was for many years made up of boys from the school. The rector of Old St. Paul's, by virtue of his position at the church, is automatically the chairman of our board of trustees. This connection between the school and Old St. Paul's became so important to me that I was ultimately married at Old St. Paul's. My oldest child was married at Old St. Paul's. My second child was married at Old St. Paul's. My third was married at the base of the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse, but that's a different story. Representing Old St. Paul's Church is its rector, the Reverend Mark Stanley, and his son Jack Stanley, class of 2018, and they have a gift that they wish to present to Headmaster Faust.
Headmaster Faust, receive this prayer book and Bible combination and help us live by faith while honoring our school's Episcopal tradition.
Besides Old St. Paul's Church, there is another institution that has close ties to us. I am, of course, speaking of St. Paul's School for Girls. I feel a special kinship with SPSG. From the very beginning of my relationship with St. Paul's, the girls' school has been part of that relationship. St. Paul's School for Girls opened its doors in the fall of 1959, the same year I entered the boys' school as a 7th grader. When I started my teaching career in the fall of 1969, I was working with SPSG girls from the very first day, first in the theater program, and later in oceanography class, which was one of our very first coordinated classes. While I was dean of students for the boys' school, Trish Harper, the girls' school dean, and I set up the first formal ground rules for coordination. My daughter went to St. Paul's School for Girls, and now, in fact, I am a joint employee of both schools. Although the current school opened in 1959, SPSG has a legacy that precedes the boys' school, beginning with an orphanage founded in the early 1800s. St. Paul's School for Girls is very much a part of the fabric that makes up the boys' school. Representing St. Paul's School for Girls to present a gift to Headmaster Faust is my other boss, new head of school, Penny Bach Evans, and her children, Samuel Evans, St. Paul's class of 2022, and June Friend Evans, SPSG class of 2023.
David, on behalf of St. Paul's School for Girls, I present you with this framed photograph of some of our students as a reminder of the true focus of our collaborative work together as we undertake on this beautiful campus at St. Paul's School.
What can I say about the Board of Trustees? To many, the board is a mysterious body that works in the background. I would like to ask that those trustees who are here today take a moment and stand, face the audience, and be recognized. Board members, please stand. Thank you. As you can see, there is nothing mysterious about them. These are real people who, as volunteers, are entrusted with the fate of our school. As a board, these individuals are the overseers of the entire operation. They are the ultimate authority. I know a lot of these people. Heck, I think I taught half of them, maybe more. One of them, Max, is my financial advisor. Class, can I retire yet? Don't answer that. While I have obviously not been on this board, I have served for 11 years on the board of the Sea Education Association in Woodhull, Massachusetts. I remember in good economic times the responsibility and excitement when, as chair of the Long Range Planning Committee, I recommended to the board that we build a new $12 million vessel to further the reach of our program. We did indeed build the boat. I'm glad I didn't have to do the fundraising. But I also know the very careful thought and pain that goes into recognizing when the downsizing is necessary that cuts both program and personnel. Being a trustee is not an easy job, and we are blessed with an excellent board made up of alumni, parents, and friends of the school who care deeply about this institution, its employees, and its students. Representing the Board of Trustees to present a gift to Headmaster Faust is the President of the Board, Dennis Kurganski, and the Chair of the Search Committee, Louis Sarkis.
For many years, we've described with pride the feeling of belonging to our unique and special community with this simple phrase: we are St. Paul's. On behalf of our Board of Trustees, please accept this gift, welcoming you as the captain of our St. Paul's community, who will sail us on our journey in the years to come. David, we are St. Paul's, and Val, you are St. Paul's too.
And then there are the alums. We got a lot of them. I'm told that since 1849, over 4,000 have graduated from St. Paul's, and that an amazing 3,000 2,396, as of yesterday, are still alive. Whoa. We got a bunch of them on the faculty. We got a bunch of them on the board. We have alums accomplishing all kinds of stuff out there in the real world. The alums support the school in a big way in terms of both annual and capital giving. Think alum when you eat in the Ward Center, or when you study in Fisher Hall, or play baseball on Blankstone Fields. Representing the Alumni Association to make a presentation to Headmaster House is the President of the Alumni Association, Robert Horst, from the class of 1990, and our own Kent Skippy Darrow, class of 1960.
St. Paul's has touched the lives of alumni, so that you may touch the lives of future graduates.
Our parents are very special people. They, like most parents, care deeply for their kids and want to provide the very best they can for them. My younger brother is the director of admissions for the Eaglebrook School in Deerfield, Massachusetts, a boarding middle school that caters to a very wealthy clientele. Michael Douglas is an alum. He's been on their board of trustees. He sent his son to the school. Bill Cosby's kids went to the school. My brother had a parents' conference at 1 o'clock in the morning with Elizabeth Taylor, for those who remember Elizabeth Taylor. The Shaw of Iran, when there was a Shaw of Iran, sent his kids to Eaglebrook. The current King of Jordan is a graduate of the Eaglebrook School, and my brother has recently gone to Jordan as a guest of the king. Whoa. There's a lot of money, there's a lot of old money. The Eaglebrook parents certainly care about their kids, but they leave an awful lot up to the school. A great many are simply dropped off the school or airport or bus station at the beginning of sessions and picked up 2 months later. It is parenting from a distance. This is definitely not St. Paul's. The vast majority of our students come from families who work very, very hard to earn the income that allows them to send their kids here. Our parents see value in what we offer, and we have an obligation to provide what we promise. Our parents are involved daily with the school, and we form a partnership with them in the education of our students. Our parents go out of the way to support the school in ways that go well beyond the tuition that they have already paid. In the past, they have sponsored Fall Fest, they have contributed financially to technology, the jazz band, the speaker series, choral program, peer leadership, and so much more. Their support and contributions to the athletic program have been immense. There is continuous communication between our parents and the school. The president of the Parents Association, Patricia Brandau, will now present a gift to Headmaster Faust.
David, as we give you this woodworking tool, we ask that you give our children the tools needed to be successful.
Finally, speaking to the students, if any of you after you graduate to become either the king or queen of some country, my wife and I would be more than happy to visit you at the palace on an all-expenses paid trip, and we don't care how big or small the country is. Just letting you know. Working behind the scenes is the staff which encompasses all those people on campus who are not either in the classroom or on the field. These people are all charged in one way or another with making it possible for the teachers and coaches to do their jobs educating our students. This includes academic administrators, business office people, maintenance, technologists, nurses, psychologists, groundskeepers, and probably some other categories I have not thought of. Now that I actually no longer have classes, I have in essence joined full-time the ranks of staff. The line between staff and faculty is frequently blurred, since they're often staff who teach a class or two, and there are often teachers who have certain administrative duties. According to my quick count, we have about 80 people on campus working behind the scenes. Representing the staff, we have Larry Smith, 36 years here on campus, who runs our print shop on top of his primary mission as administrative assistant to the maintenance department, and Lee Muller, who has been here for 27 years, who manages the War Center, runs the box office, and has the unenviable job of playing diplomat, juggling the needs of the 6 divisions of the 2 schools, which includes St. Paul's Plus.
David, as you make your many visits around campus each morning, please accept this travel coffee mug and with it an open invitation to stop by and visit any of us over a cup of coffee anytime.
It is now time to get back to the students and teachers. Old St. Paul's, FDSG, the trustees, the alumni, parents, the staff are all there so that the teacher and student can get together on their respective ends of that proverbial wall, which I mentioned at the beginning. You cannot have one without the other. Student, teacher, they come as a pair. One of the really fun benefits of being a teacher is that you never forget your own childhood. Every time you look into the eyes of your students, you remember a piece of yourself. As an elementary student, I remember learning to read, how to stand in line, learning how to make friends, sometimes learning how you can lose friends. Every day brought something that would open my eyes to another wonderment of life. I remember my middle school days with all that uncontrollable energy, bouncing off the wall and trying to control it just enough to settle down when it came time for class. I remember well in my upper school years when God finally connected those wires that allowed my mind to think abstractly. It opened up a whole new world of thought. Our students come in all kinds of shapes, sizes, colors, beliefs, and individual needs. They smile a lot, have insatiable curiosity, push limits, and work really hard to not only better themselves, but I think they also work very hard to keep us young. Look at the effect they have Mr. Darrell. Skippy stand. Skippy is a permanent youngster. His hair may be gray, but his infectious smile is young. At age 71 next week, he's going to take off and lead the 10th grade bicycle trip again. I've said for years, the man is bionic. Students have had a similar sort of youth effect on me, at least my wife thinks so. I'm 66 and she keeps telling me to grow up. To present gifts, we have from the upper school from the upper school, we have Student Council President Jack Muchnick, class of 2014. From the middle school, we have Jonathan Phillips, class of 2018. And from the lower school, we have Ella Taylor, class of 2022.
Mr. Downs, please accept this golden ticket. With it, you gain automatic admittance to every class, every game, every performance, every show, and every event on campus. We give you this present so we can enjoy your presence and be among us as a leader, a teacher, a coach.
Mrs. Faust, please accept these gifts that represent the challenging journey we experienced throughout the middle school years. Thank you for your desire to stand with us and support us as we become St. Paul's gentlemen.
Mr. Faust, please accept this gift. These animals represent the 6 pillars of character: trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. Thank you for leading us as we learn why character is doing the right thing when nobody's looking.
This brings us to our faculty, and we're going to do this a little bit differently now. I would like to ask Penny Witter of the lower school to rise and stand in front of the music stand and just face the audience. In front of the music stand. I want you out front. You changed it. You can't hide behind the microphone. There's a mutiny taking place. Penny stands here as a representative of the entire lower school faculty. Penny joined the faculty in September of 1974 and was part 2 of a family team since her mother was already teaching in the lower school. A complete professional who knows kids, Penny taught 4th grade up until 5 years ago when she became a learning resource teacher, a math specialist, and also part of the STEM team. I had the great pleasure of working with Penny on the 4th grade play for several years when she became a very competent follow spot operator. And I enjoyed watching with envy the relationship she had with her students. I now want to ask Jody Beeler to come and stand next to Penny. Jody stands here as a representative of the entire middle school faculty. Jody joined the faculty in September 1977 as a part-time art teacher. Like so many artists, she was piecing together a career that involved hopping between part-time jobs. Her dedication and skills did not go unnoticed, and her role quickly increased to a full-time position as she developed a full art curriculum. Every year, as I sit here in the center doing my theater booth thing, I look forward to the day that Jody has the Baltimore Zoo bring in some exotic animals for the boys to draw. The boys love it as they stare into the eyes of an alligator attempting to get its reptilian form on paper. Next, I want to ask Howard Schindler to come and stand next to Penny and Jody. Howard joined the middle school faculty in September of 1976. At the time, I was head of the science department in the upper school, and it did not take long for me to kidnap Howard and bring him over to the upper school, whose faculty he represents today. Howard has had a long, varied career, teaching biology, health, introducing popular courses in anatomy and forensics, soccer coach, class skiing, peer leadership, and a bunch of other stuff. All together, these 3 teachers have 111 years of teaching experience. Together, they represent the passion, dedication, professionalism, and love for their students, typical of every one of our faculty and coaches in this space. We can think of every one of our teachers as St. Paul's own version of that Williams professor, Mark Hopkins, sitting on one end of that log with a student on the other. Headmaster Faust, as Senior Master, my gift to you is this incredibly talented and caring faculty. I now ask that all faculty and coaches please stand. Representing all those people who have stood up, these 3 senior teachers are now going to go over and officially greet you. The arrival of a new headmaster is an exciting time for any school. I can't wait to see what happens this year. It's going to be fun, and of course I get it double because, as I said, I'm a 50-50 employee and I have 2 new heads. It's going to be great. This has been a real honor for me to be part of this celebration. Thank you.
Faust, please stand along with Holly, Libby, and John. St. Paul's, please greet your new headmaster and his family.
Start with a few thank yous. A bit overwhelmed, but extremely excited and honored to be standing here before you. Let me start by thanking the St. Paul's community for their warm welcome to my family. We've really, and I've said this over and over again, we've really felt warmly welcome, and it is an expression of the strength of this community. Thank you to everyone who helped organize this ceremony, particularly Kathy Krieger and our school chaplains. Thank you to today's presenters for taking part in this service and for their thoughtful gifts. Years and years of commitment to service to St. Paul's School was before us today. And the merger of student and faculty and staff really makes me feel proud to be part of this Marine community. Thank you to Cliff Lowe for your thoughtful remarks. Cliff is the school's senior master. This fall, he started his 45th year as a member of our staff. Cliff is also an alumnus from the class of 1965. I think it's safe to say that Cliff has spent most of his life here at St. Paul's School. Thank you, Cliff. Thank you to the trustees for their careful stewardship of the school. And thank you to Penny Bob Evans, head of St. Paul's School for Girls, for joining us today. And I, too, look forward to attending her investiture next week. I am honored to serve as the 33rd headmaster at St. Paul's School. I follow in the footsteps of leaders whose passion for the school and for making a difference in their students' lives was evident in their thoughts, words, and deeds. As we walk around this beautiful campus, we see not only their names, Hamilton, Middleton, Boardman, Howard, and most recently, Tom Reed, but also the results of their efforts. I will do everything possible to carry out their legacy, to carry their legacy forward, honoring our past while guiding us into the future. This is a remarkable school with a strong sense of community and a sincere commitment to helping every young man and woman be the best that they can be. As well as any school I have seen, St. Paul's prepares its students to do good and worthwhile things beyond the confines of our campus. Thank you for your support and your willingness to join me in this noble endeavor.
Now, please join me in saying our school prayer. Let us pray. Teach us, good Lord, to serve thee first, to give and not count the cost, to fight not to do the wounds, to toil not to seek the rest, to labor not to ask for any reward, to say thy mind, and to do thy will, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. And now receive in our life and believing the love of God at our end and new beginning, the arms of God to welcome us and bring us home. Amen. Please rise as we sing our closing hymn, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. And now, brothers and sisters, go in peace, remember the poor.